Ladies and gentlemen, there is a battlefield not made of swords or guns, but of thoughts and beliefs. It is the war between two opposing forces, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And the victor of this internal conflict determines the quality of your life. A fixed mindset believes that abilities are set in stone. It says, you're either born with it or you're not. People with this mindset view talent as the ultimate determiner of success, and when they fail, they assume they've reached the limits of their capacity. In contrast, a growth mindset acknowledges that while natural talent plays a role, it is not the final word. True success is shaped by effort, perseverance, learning, and resilience. The fixed mindset locks people in place. The growth mindset gives them permission to evolve. This difference is not a matter of mere optimism. It is a matter of understanding human design. You are not static. Your mind is elastic. It stretches with use, it strengthens with challenge, and it renews with knowledge. Every time you face difficulty, you are being presented with a choice: shrink back into the comfort of the familiar or grow forward into the development of your future. When a person believes their intelligence or creativity is fixed, they will avoid tasks that make them feel incompetent. They won't try new things because failure feels final. They'll protect their image rather than pursue improvement. But those who understand that growth is possible, those who know that intelligence can be sharpened, that talent can be trained, they lean into challenges. They don't fear looking foolish because they see effort as evidence of transformation. The power of this mindset lies in its ability to liberate you from self-imposed limitations. If you can change your mind, you can change your outcome. The growth mindset says, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting better. It reframes problems as pathways. It treats effort not as a burden, but as a bridge. And over time, this mindset develops endurance, character, and wisdom. Consider how this applies to everyday life. In education, a student with a fixed mindset might give up after failing a test. A student with a growth mindset, however, will see that test as a tool to identify weakness and focus effort. In the workplace, a fixed mindset employee will resist feedback, but a growth mindset employee will welcome it as fuel for mastery. In relationships, a fixed mindset can lead to blame and defensiveness, while a growth mindset opens the door for empathy, listening, and mutual growth. At its core, the difference between these two mindsets is the difference between maintenance and movement. A fixed mindset maintains the status quo. It accepts limitations as permanent. A growth mindset moves, always learning, always adapting, always reaching for what could be. Life is not about being the best instantly. It's about becoming better consistently. That is the beauty of the growth mindset. It tells you that your best days are never behind you. It invites you to see every moment as a stepping stone to something greater. It tells you that no matter your background, no matter your setbacks, no matter your age, if you're willing to learn, you're able to rise. The patterns of thought that govern our lives are not inherited traits, they are developed. No one is born believing they are limited. A newborn doesn't question whether it can learn to walk or speak. Those doubts enter later, shaped by what we hear, experience, and are taught. The mindset we carry is a result of years of repeated messages, some empowering, some restricting. This is crucial to understand because it means we are not prisoners of our past programming, we are stewards of our mental future. From childhood, we begin to internalize beliefs about intelligence, success, and worth. A child repeatedly told, "You're not good at math," may accept that as truth, building a fixed mindset around numbers. Another child, encouraged with, "Keep trying, you'll figure it out," learns that growth is possible through effort. These early voices, parents, teachers, peers, plant seeds. Some seeds bear fruit, others become weeds that choke progress. Yet all of them shape how we approach challenge, failure, and identity. Education systems, cultural norms, and even casual comments can influence how we see ourselves. When a society glorifies perfection and punishes failure, it breeds fear. When a teacher rewards only correct answers, students learn to value appearance over process. But when feedback is framed as part of development, learners grow in confidence. This isn't just about formal education. It applies to family dynamics, friendships, workplaces, and communities. The environments we spend time in our mirrors, constantly reflecting back to us what we believe we can or cannot do. But here's the empowering truth. If your mindset was formed, it can be reformed. You do not have to carry the weight of limiting beliefs for the rest of your life. You can challenge them. You can question their source and replace them with truth. A growth mindset begins with recognizing that your thinking patterns are not part of your DNA. They're habits, and habits can be changed. Renewing the mind is a daily discipline. It's not about pretending difficulties don't exist. It's about responding to them differently. It's about refusing to let inherited or imposed beliefs define your future. You may not be responsible for the voices that shaped your thinking, but you are responsible for the thoughts you allow to continue shaping you now. To grow is to take ownership of your inner dialogue. Every day you have the opportunity to rewrite the narrative. Instead of, "I'm not good at this," say, "I'm learning how to do this." Instead of, "I've always been like this," say, "I'm becoming something more." That shift might seem small, but it is powerful. It moves you from limitation to liberation. Your mindset is not a life sentence. It's a choice you can renew, reshape, and rebuild. And the first step to that transformation is understanding that the mind you have now is not the final version. It's a work in progress, and you are the author of what comes next. There is a stark difference between living with limitation and living with potential. The human being was not designed to live confined within self-imposed boundaries. Yet, a fixed mindset does exactly that. It convinces individuals that what they can currently do is all they'll ever be able to do. It says, "You were born with this level of intelligence, this amount of skill, this degree of creativity, and that's it." People with this mindset begin to measure their entire future by their current capacity, forgetting that growth is always available. Potential is not a destination. It is a direction. It is not something you reach once and stop. It is an ever-expanding horizon that responds to effort, learning, and time. The tragedy of a fixed mindset is that it chains you to the present and blinds you to the future. It forces you to fear challenge and resist change because both expose the myth that your worth is based solely on current performance. A growth mindset, on the other hand, unlocks a different reality. It declares that presentability is merely a starting point, not a summary. It believes that intelligence can be developed, that skills can be refined, and that potential is always greater than performance. This mindset allows you to dream bigger, try harder, and recover faster. It embraces the process of becoming rather than clinging to the illusion of perfection. The beauty of a growth mindset is that it separates identity from outcome. Just because you failed does not mean you are a failure. Just because you lack a skill today does not mean you will lack it tomorrow. With each attempt, each correction, and each small win, you are expanding your limits. Potential is not fixed. It is like a seed that multiplies when nurtured, but it requires belief, effort, and patience. People with a fixed mindset tend to avoid difficult tasks because failure feels like proof of inadequacy. They seek validation instead of growth, applause instead of advancement. But growth-minded individuals pursue mastery, not merely praise. They see challenge as a tool, not a threat. They take feedback seriously, not as an attack on identity, but as fuel for development. They are less concerned with being right and more committed to getting better. Unlocking potential requires the humility to accept where you are and the courage to believe you can go further. It is not about becoming the best in the room. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. It's about removing the invisible ceiling that limited thinking has placed over your life. So many people walk away from opportunities simply because they believe they are not ready. But readiness is not a prerequisite for progress. Willingness is. When you carry a growth mindset, you walk into situations knowing that you may not have all the answers yet, but you're prepared to learn to adapt and to stretch into what's possible. The truth is, limitation begins in the mind, and so does liberation. Failure is often misunderstood. Many see it as the opposite of success, something to be feared, avoided, or hidden. But for those who embrace a growth mindset, failure takes on an entirely different meaning. It becomes a vital part of the journey, a stepping stone and a source of invaluable feedback. When you shift your perspective to see failure not as an end, but as a beginning, your entire approach to challenges and growth transforms. People with a fixed mindset tend to view failure as a reflection of their innate ability. They believe that if they fail, it means they lack talent or intelligence, so they avoid risks and challenges to protect their self-image. This fear of failure creates a paralyzing barrier that limits potential and stifles creativity. It convinces them that failure is a verdict, not a lesson. As a result, they might give up quickly or avoid trying altogether. However, a growth mindset recognizes that failure is not a judgment on your worth or potential. Instead, failure is feedback, a message that something needs to be adjusted, learned, or approached differently. When you fail, you gain insight. You learn what doesn't work, which is just as important as knowing what does. Each setback is an opportunity to refine your strategies, to deepen your understanding, and to build resilience. Failure becomes an invitation to improve, not a reason to quit. This mindset doesn't deny the emotional difficulty of failure. It acknowledges the disappointment, the frustration, and even the pain. But it refuses to let those feelings define the outcome. Instead of letting failure shape your identity, you let it shape your growth. The key difference is in how you interpret and respond to failure. Do you see it as a dead end or as a detour on the road to success? When failure is embraced as feedback, it cultivates a powerful cycle of learning and progress. You begin to ask questions. What can I learn from this? How can I do better next time? What skills do I need to develop? This active curiosity fuels motivation and perseverance. The growth mindset transforms setbacks into setups for comebacks. This approach also builds emotional strength. By reframing failure, you reduce fear and anxiety around trying new things. You become willing to take risks and step outside your comfort zone. This willingness to experiment is essential for innovation, creativity, and personal development. The growth mindset empowers you to see mistakes not as marks of shame, but as milestones on your path. Ultimately, understanding failure as feedback aligns you with a deeper truth. Progress is not linear. Growth involves trial and error, ups and downs, success and failure. The people who achieve great things are not those who never fail, but those who never stop learning from failure. So remember, your failures do not define you. Your response to them does. When you view failure as a valuable teacher, you turn obstacles into opportunities. You build resilience, sharpen your skills, and strengthen your character. Failure becomes a friend, guiding you toward mastery and success. Taking responsibility for your own transformation is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward growth. It is a realization that no external circumstance, no matter how challenging or favorable, has the final say over who you become. Transformation begins in the mind, in the conscious choice to renew your thinking, change your habits, and align your actions with your purpose. This is not a passive process, but an active, daily decision that requires discipline, courage, and faith in the potential of what you can become. Many people wait for circumstances to change before they attempt to change themselves. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the right motivation, or an external push to start growing. But true transformation doesn't come from waiting. It comes from taking ownership of your life. You are not a victim of your environment, upbringing, or past failures. Instead, you have the authority to choose your response, to decide how you think, feel, and act moving forward. This responsibility is both a privilege and a challenge. It means that blaming others or circumstances will not produce growth. Complaining about what you don't have or what's not working will not renew your mind. The power lies within you to shift your perspective, embrace discomfort, and commit to the process of becoming. This requires an intentional effort to replace old, limiting beliefs with new, empowering truths. Renewing your mind is an ongoing process. It happens when you intentionally feed yourself with positive, growth-oriented ideas through reading, listening, reflection, and prayer or meditation. It occurs when you surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you to be better. It grows when you practice gratitude, patience, and persistence despite setbacks. Transformation is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey of small, consistent choices. Understanding that you are responsible for your transformation also means embracing discomfort. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. It requires stepping into the unknown, facing fears, and persevering through difficulties. You must be willing to change old habits, confront weaknesses, and take risks. This can feel uncomfortable and even painful, but it is necessary for renewal. The mind must be stretched before it can expand. Moreover, this responsibility invites you to become intentional about your goals and your purpose. When you know why you want to grow, you gain clarity and motivation. Purpose acts as a compass that guides your transformation journey, helping you stay focused and resilient. Without purpose, change can feel aimless and exhausting. With purpose, every effort becomes meaningful. Finally, taking responsibility for your transformation empowers you to live a life of freedom and fulfillment. It frees you from the chains of limitation and excuses. It opens the door to discovering your full potential and making an impact beyond yourself. The choice to renew your mind is the choice to rewrite your story, to become the person you were created to be. The power of words and belief is one of the most profound forces shaping our lives, often more influential than circumstances themselves. What you say to yourself, the stories you tell in your mind, and the beliefs you hold deep within create the framework through which you experience the world. These internal dialogues either build a fortress that protects your potential or construct walls that confine it. The truth is that the language of your mind is the language of your destiny. When you speak words of limitation, I can't, I'm not good enough, this is too hard, you begin to build a mental prison. These words plant seeds of doubt that grow into barriers blocking your progress. Over time, the repetition of negative self-talk rewires your brain to expect failure and reinforce low confidence. This can become a self-fulfilling prophecy where your thoughts create a reality of defeat before you even begin. Conversely, when you choose to speak words of encouragement, possibility, and faith, you create an environment for growth. Positive affirmations, I am capable, I can learn and improve, challenges help me grow, ignite motivation and resilience. These beliefs are not mere wishful thinking, they are declarations that train your mind to see opportunity where others see obstacles. They shift your perception from limitation to expansion, unlocking potential that was always present but previously dormant. Belief is the soil in which your thoughts take root. If you believe you are powerless, your actions will reflect that belief, no matter what external resources you have. But if you believe in your capacity to learn, adapt, and overcome, you activate a chain reaction that propels you forward. Belief fuels persistence. It is the invisible force that sustains effort when progress is slow or difficult. This is why so many successful people emphasize mindset as the foundation of achievement, not talent alone, not luck, but unwavering belief. This power also extends beyond yourself. The words you speak to others carry tremendous weight. Encouraging words can inspire confidence, awaken potential, and create an atmosphere of growth. Harsh or dismissive words, on the other hand, can discourage and stunt development. You become not only the master of your own mindset, but also an influencer of the mindsets around you. Changing your internal dialogue and belief system is not always easy because these patterns have often been ingrained for years. It requires intentional practice to notice negative thoughts, challenge them, and replace them with truths that empower you. Over time, this rewiring of the mind can lead to profound transformation as your thoughts begin to align with your goals and values. In essence, the mind responds to the language it hears most. Choose to speak words that build, that affirm, and that uplift. Choose to believe in your ability to grow, to learn, and to succeed. Because your words and beliefs are not just thoughts, they are the architects of your future. A growth mindset is not just a tool for personal success, it is the foundation for fulfilling your life's purpose and making a lasting impact in the world. Purpose is the driving force behind meaningful growth. It gives direction to your efforts and fuels perseverance when challenges arise. Without purpose, growth can feel aimless, like wandering without a destination. But when your mindset is anchored in a clear sense of purpose, every step forward becomes part of a larger story, a journey towards something greater than yourself. When you adopt a growth mindset, you begin to see potential not only in yourself, but also in others. You recognize that growth is continuous and communal. It encourages you to invest in learning, to develop your talents, and to share your gifts with the world. This mindset aligns your personal development with a higher calling, reminding you that your growth is not solely for your own benefit, but also to contribute meaningfully to the lives of those around you. Fulfilling your purpose requires embracing discomfort and uncertainty, because growth often demands that you step outside your comfort zone. A growth mindset prepares you to face setbacks with resilience, viewing obstacles as opportunities to refine your character and deepen your understanding. It teaches you that persistence in the face of adversity is a hallmark of those who achieve greatness. Moreover, a growth mindset cultivates humility. It acknowledges that no matter how much you know or achieve, there is always room to learn and improve. This openness to continuous learning prevents complacency and keeps you striving toward excellence. It is this humility that allows leaders, innovators, and change makers to adapt, evolve, and remain relevant over time. The connection between growth mindset and purpose also influences your legacy. What you build with a mindset focused on growth is sustainable because it is rooted in ongoing development and adaptability. This means that your contributions have the power to outlast temporary success or failure. Your purpose-driven growth inspires others to follow suit, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond your immediate influence. In this way, the growth mindset becomes a catalyst for transformational leadership. It encourages you to lead by example, to mentor others, and to foster environments where growth is celebrated and supported. When people see your commitment to learning and improvement, they are inspired to do the same. Your purpose thus becomes intertwined with the growth of your community, organization, or even society at large. Ultimately, the growth mindset is the key that unlocks your ability to live fully and impact deeply. It shifts your focus from merely achieving goals to becoming the kind of person who can sustain success, overcome challenges, and inspire others along the way. Your purpose is not just a destination, but a lifelong journey of growth, contribution, and transformation.